Hello and welcome to episode 22 of the Victorian Studio Podcast. My name is Maureen and I'm coming to you from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada on Sunday, November the 1st, 2015. Welcome to all new and returning viewers. I hope you enjoy your visit with me in my studio today. So this has been a pretty busy week, not only preparing for and celebrating Halloween, but also I got a fair amount of knitting done this week. So I'm looking forward to sharing with you what I got accomplished in the last few days. This week we'll review some toys. We have 18 toys that were completed in the finished objects thread of the Toy Along Cal. So I will review those. I also have some acquisitions, and at the end of the episode I'll also be reviewing the prizes for the Toy Knit Along as well, with some exciting news to add in there. So let's get started with the toys. Now the Toy Cal Knit Along, Crochet Along started on October the 1st, and since its start we've had numerous entries into the finished objects thread, and every week I've been showing you what people have accomplished. This last week we had 18 toys that were entered in that thread, so I'll review those now. But before I do that, I wanted to specifically thank Talia and Marlisha of the Pen, Hook and Needles podcast. They so generously invited me to be a co-host of this knit and crochet along, and I want to thank them very much. It's been so much fun to be a co-host that I really do appreciate it. I just love watching your podcast and seeing everything that you guys accomplished. So it's wonderful to be a part of your Cal. So thank you very much. So this week, as I mentioned, we have 18 toys, and some are by the same people. Some of these crafters have entered more than once this week. And what I did was last night at midnight, our time, I closed the thread for the finished objects so that I could choose the first winner of a US $10 or less Ravelry pattern that I would gift to the random.org chosen winner. So I will announce the winner of that drawing at the end of the podcast. But as I said, I had to do the cutoff at midnight, as I had said previously. So anybody that didn't get your toys in by midnight, no worries, you're in for the next draw, and everybody is in for the next draw, as well as, of course, the December draw and the draws for the physical prizes at the end of the Cal. So these ones that I'm mentioning today did get their entries in by midnight. So the first one that I wanted to share with you today is Yeti Spaghetti, and this was done by Maria, who is Seductive Berry on Ravelry. She knit a cute, it's a combo knit and felt Yeti snowman, or Yeti Spaghetti is the actual pattern name by Susan Claudino. So it's really cute, Maria. Thank you very much. It really turned out really well. Love it. The next one that I wanted to share was a gargoyle, and this was done by Rose. Her Ravelry name is Rose Bob, and she knit this pattern by Fione, I think is how you pronounce it, and the pattern name is called My Little Gargoyle, and I believe she said that she hand dyed her yarn black for this project, so it's really a wonderful project. I saw Tilly Trout had done a gargoyle as well, so it's really an intriguing pattern. Really, if you can call a gargoyle cute, it's very cute. Also, let's see, she also did another pattern, another entry. She knit the Mummy, and this is a pattern from the Knit Your Own Zombie book by Fiona Goebel. And this is the classic zombie pattern that she used, so this is great. I love the way that turned out. Well done. Also, let's see, Maria, Seductive Berry, also did a Jinx she knit. It's a Susan Claudino pattern as well. So that was also done by Maria Seductive Berry on Ravelry. So that's the next one. Let's see, the fifth pattern or toy that I wanted to share is by Vonnie, Studio Von Designs. She did pink juggling animals, and these were the juggling pigs by Frankie Brown. And in the pattern, they show the pigs, and Vonnie made up 2 more animals for her juggling animals. These are crocheted, and she designed the mouse and the dolphin to go with her set. So really adorable. That's great, Vonnie. Thank you. She's done so many toys in this. The next one is by Actun Kitten. That's Rose. By the way, Rose, happy birthday. I noticed on Ravelry there was a birthday cake by your ID. And she knit a doll with long hair. And this pattern is called Kyoto by Mamimi Hayasaka. And this is a beautiful knit doll, and what a great photo shoot she had with this doll. And she says her cat loves it too, and you could see in the photo shoot she certainly did. The next one I wanted to share is by Andre Sue of the Andre Sue Knits podcast. So if you haven't checked that out, I'll also link her podcast in the links in the Ravelry thread and on my blog. She did Boo the Bat, and this is a pattern, a knit pattern by Anna Herakovic. And she said she used leftover sock yarn, and I love the button that holds the wrapped wings around the bat when it's hanging upside down. It's really adorable. Really nice pattern. I love that. She also did a second entry, and it's called Alien Autopsy. Now, it's great for Halloween. That would make good Halloween decor. This is a knit pattern by Emily Stone King, and she said it was strange, but she had to knit it. And yes, it is strange indeed. It must have been really weird to be knitting an autopsy alien, but yeah, it turned out great, and what a great Halloween decor it would make. Okay, the next one I wanted to share with you was Brittany B. Wing on Ravelry. She crocheted Hoot Hoot, and they're 2 small hanging owls, so they're really adorable as well. She also did a little robot. It's called Bot Bites, and that's a pattern by Gemma Kruger, and she said she knit that as a birthday gift, and it's really, really cute as well. The next one is by Tricia C, and this is Pat from On the Dock Knits. She's one of our Cal sponsors. She's the lady that is providing the beautiful bag I'll show at the end of the podcast, the project bag, and stitch markers. So thank you for entering, Pat. It's wonderful to see that you're entering the Cal as well. She made a Yuletide gnome by Alan Dart, and this is a knit pattern, and it's great to have something started for Christmas. I haven't even thought of Christmas yet, but I guess now that Halloween is over, I'll have to start thinking about that as well. So that's really wonderful, Pat. Thank you. Okay, the next one is by Allison Rose Boom, and that's Allison. She knit a pumpkin, and it's a Jack B. Little Pumpkin by Elizabeth Murphy. And she also did Raleigh the Giraffe by Susan Claudino. It's a knit pattern as well, and I love the purples and blues in that giraffe. What a nice toy that turned out to be. And also, Rose Bob again, she did What a Detailed Pirate. This is amazing, the detail that she put into this toy. It's called the Samuel Crow Pirate pattern by Annette Hefford. But Rose said that she was inspired, of course, by Jack Sparrow, so dear to my heart, the Johnny Depp character. The detail in this is amazing, and so you really have to go to the finished objects thread in Ravelry and check out her project page. She's got all the details on how she knit this, and not only is it a pirate he has a fancy sword and a pirate dog, so all of it, the whole thing is just wonderful. So what a great job. I mean, I love even the beads in his hair, and all the detail that she added to it was just wonderful, wonderful toy. So thank you so much. Okay, the next one is, Marlisha from Pinhook and Needles. She added 2 of her toys into the Cal, and she is Lady Fernico on Ravelry, and of course one of the co-hosts for the Pinhook and Needles podcast. She entered her very sweet Pita Owl, and this was a test crochet for her daughter Talia, Franciscan Gypsy, and this is so cute with the big eyes. Really great, just love it. Her daughter is so talented, such a talented designer. She's got lots of toy patterns, so you should check her out as well. And she also entered in Catnip, and this is Katniss. It's a reference to Katniss in the Hunger Games, and I just love this cat. I love the colors that you chose, and again, this is a crochet pattern by Franciscan Gypsy, her daughter Talia. So just 2 wonderful projects. Thank you, Marlisha, for entering those into the Toy Cal here. And Sue, Family Diva, she has entered another item. She knit another Bluebird of Happiness. I was saying another, somebody else had done Bluebird of Happiness, but I think this is her first one. But I love Bluebirds of Happiness. They're such a nice knit to use up small amounts of yarn, but they really come out so very pretty. They're great for adding onto gifts or as ornaments or decorations. There's it's a very nice pattern. So that is by Sarah Elizabeth Kellner. So thank you, Sue, for entering in your Bluebird of Happiness. And lastly, Texas Woman, I think it's TX Woman 5031 Tiffany on Ravelry, knit a Nubblechin, and it's by Pezzy 888. And this is a little dog, toy, and she says her dog seems to like it too. So you can see it certainly does. So thank you, Tiffany, for entering that toy in as well. So that's the cutoff that I had as of midnight last night. So all of those will be entered in to the draw at the end of the podcast for the first Ravelry pattern. So there's been a couple of entries today, but those will be entered in at the end of November for the second of 3 Ravelry patterns that I'm giving away. And of course, everyone will be entered to win all of the physical prizes that I'll review at the end of the podcast. So thank you, everyone, for all of your entries and for all of the chatter that's going on. I haven't been on too much in the last week, but I hope to get back to the threads and making some comments. But I have been reviewing them and checking off the loves as I see them. So I really do appreciate all of the chatter that's going on, all the discussions in all the threads in our Ravelry group. So it's, again, growing day by day, and so are the YouTube subscriptions to the podcast. So thank you, everyone, for becoming members and subscribers. So I think that's it for the Toy Cal until I review the prizes at the end of the podcast. So I thought next I would review what I was up to in the last week. I have 4 projects on the go right now. This week I didn't get anything off the needles, but I did get a fair amount done on each of my 4 projects. So I will start with, let's see, the Bonbon Shawlette. And this is a pattern that I purchased from Isabel from the Fluffy Fibers podcast, and it is living in my knitting den or Kikiboo bag by Denise. And this is a pattern that Isabel brought out fairly recently, and she is holding a knit along for this. So I'm entering my shawlette into her knit along, and it was so funny. I went to the thread to add my work in progress, and the poster just ahead of me was using almost the identical wool that I'm using, and that is the Malabrigo Machita in the Sherry colorway, and it is just so beautiful and perfect for this kind of project. And hopefully you can see the beautiful purples, blues, greens, even a light gray, so many different colors. And when Isabel was making this pattern, she specifically said she was making it for yarns like this, that they really do show up so well, and I couldn't agree more. It's really showing off the yarn really well. So I got a fair amount done in the last week on this. I think when I last showed it to you, I was about halfway from where I'm showing it now. At least this week I didn't have any problems with keeping that spine straight. The larger stitch holder, stitch marker is doing its job and not getting me off track. So since I showed it to you last, I have done one of the eyelet sections, and now I'm on to a honeycomb pattern. So this yarn is so very soft. It's knitting up really, really well, and I just love the way it shows off this, the pattern shows off this yarn. And I am using, for this, US 7s or 4.5 millimeter needles. So this next section will be going on for quite a while, so I'm sure next week I'll probably still be in that section, but hopefully have more to show you. But so far, so good. I'm really enjoying this. And it is such an easy knit, really. The pattern is easy to memorize, so this is a great take-along pattern. So I have taken it to work a couple of times to work on as well. So yeah, so that's coming along. The next one that I wanted to share with you is a test knit for another podcaster. Isabel has the Fluffy Fibers podcast, which I just showed you, and the next one is by Lena at Wee Bit Knitty Podcast, and that is a mitten pattern, and it is currently living in my Fondant Fiber cat bag. I have two of these actually, and I use one as a notions bag, even though it's big enough to be a project bag on its own. Right now I'm just using it inside the larger bag. But kind of a funny story about this project. I wanted to use this Barocco Ultra Alpaca Light. And last week when I mentioned I had some of the cream, and I showed you that I had started on the cuff of these mitts with the cream. And the only other colorway I had, well, other than 3 skeins of a blue color, but I didn't want to use up, just for mittens, which don't use up a lot of yarn, I didn't want to break up those 3 skeins that I had as one for one larger project. So the only other color I had in my stash of the Ultra Alpaca Light was this red. So I was thinking, okay, well, I'll use these two. Lena's pattern shows the pattern as 2 colors, one for the cuff and another color for the rest of the mitt. And she used 2 very nice, kind of taupey, beigey color, and then kind of a golden color for the cuff. And it looks so nice, those 2 kind of neutral colors together. And I thought, well, I wonder, if the red's going to bleed into the cream, or if they're too different. But then I thought, well, I was thinking about, I don't know if you've ever seen a few years ago when Canada was hosting the Winter Olympics, one of the biggest things was the Canadian mitts, and I was thinking, oh, the red and white mitts, that's kind of what it reminds me of. And so I started knitting, and I got the cuff done last week, and then I started knitting the main part of the mitt. And about 2 inches into the mitt, I realized that this wasn't looking like an Olympic mitt. This was looking more like Santa's mitts. And I don't know why, but as I was going up, I had this realization, oh my, it looks like Santa's mitt. But I kept on going, and I think it looks more like a Mrs. Santa's mitt. I love this pattern though. It's so nice. I love anything with cables. And Lena has done a beautiful job of designing the cuff in a feather and fan pattern, and then the back of the mitt with these 3 cable work sections. The palm is just stockinette. So I just finished this first mitt this morning, actually while watching her latest podcast episode. So I'm thrilled to have the first one done. I thought I would do the cuff a little bit longer, but it actually was nice and long enough. I did do the overall mitt a little bit shorter than her pattern called for, and I Kitchenered the top of the mitt rather than binding off the way that she had. I did it a little bit shorter than she did. I know the Norwegian styles to have it a little bit more pointed, but I curved mine off a little bit, like rounded it off a little bit more. So I love the way that it worked out, and I love being a test knitter for her. And yeah, I'm looking forward now to casting on the second one. So I guess with Christmas coming around the corner, maybe I was just thinking about Santa or something, but I think I'll call these my Santa or Mrs. Santa mitts. But I do love the way that they're coming out. I love the red color, so hopefully they won't bleed. But yeah, I'm very pleased with the project so far. So yes, the pattern, once she gets it published, I highly recommend it. It's really easy. I really love the way it's turning out. So I'm using US 4s or 3.5 millimeter needles for these. So let's see. The next thing I wanted to share with you were my TARDIS socks, and I did get something done on each of them. So they are living in my own project bag that I made, of course, with the TARDIS on it. If you're a Doctor Who fan, you would know that. If you're not, well, now you know. Let's see. I am using a pattern called Police Box Socks, and this is by Audrey Nicklin. I believe this is a free pattern on Ravelry. And as I've mentioned before, I modified the pattern a bit, and my modifications are on my project page. So I am using Briggs & Little Durasport yarn, and it is not what you would call a soft yarn. It's more like an opal style, very thick and hard wearing, but I think these will make very durable socks. So I started with the 3 colorways of the Briggs & Little, the black, ecru, and the denim. And now I'm just working with the denim. So I thought I would put these on sock blockers to show you my progress so far. So they're both at about the same level of completion. I am down to the foot on each one. So I'm very pleased with how they're coming along. In the last week, I believe I had just started the gusset of both of these socks. So I finished the gusset now on each one, and now I just have to finish the foot and the toe. So I'm really pleased with how these are coming along and how the pattern is coming out. It will need some blocking to straighten out the color work, of course, but so far so good. And I am using on these 1.5s US size needles or 2.5 millimeter. So yeah, I'm thrilled that these are coming along, and I got time to work on these this week as well. So let's see, I have one more project to share with you that I've been working on, and that's my cardigan. And last week I showed that I was working on the body of the cardigan. If you're new, just quickly review. This is my first cardigan, and this is something that I'm making for the Shackleton Knit Along by oh my goodness, Fiber Treks, Knit Along Fiber Trek podcast by Sarah. And Shackleton Knit Along is something that you can enter that you consider epic. And for me, I consider this project epic because it's my first real attempt at a sweater or a cardigan. I tried to make one last year and just frogged it using the same yarn, but I didn't get very far. So this is the farthest I've ever gotten on a large project like this. And it's by far the most complex project that I've ever attempted. So I got finished the first part of the project were the 2 sleeves, so those are done. And one of the things I like about this pattern is all the cable work, and hopefully you can see the cables that run up the sleeve and are on the cuff. And on the body of the cardigan, I'll show you a picture here. On the body of the cardigan are also quite a few cables. Now this is a pattern by Interweave, and let's see, it is by Amanda Schusger. So it is fairly complex. So right now I am working on in the as one whole section the back and both sides and fronts of the cardigan and working my way up. So right now, last week I had 1 pocket done, and this week I was able to get the 2nd pocket done. So I'll show that to you. I am using Wensleydale wool. This is from the Wensleydale Sheep Shop long wool in the teal colorway. And this is an Aran weight yarn, and this I got on a de-stash from a fellow Revelry member. So I've had this for about a year. So because I got 10 skeins of that yarn, I definitely wanted to use it for a cardigan or a sweater. So right now it's totally off the needles because I was working on one pocket at first, and I got the 2nd one done. So I'm at the point where I took the 2nd one off the needles as well. So there's 1 pocket, and then it goes around the back. At the bottom there is the ribbing that goes around the back and sides, and then this is the 2nd pocket. So that is done. So it's going slowly but surely. There will be a button band that will be at the front, but these are the 2 pockets that will eventually be kind of side to side on the cardigan. Kind of hard to show you here, but yeah, I'm just loving the way this is working up. I love all the cables. They're so nice, and it's nice to be able to go into each section. I make sure that I read it until I understand what it is that I need to accomplish next, and taking it section by section. So the next section, I believe, I'll be attaching or making some more sections of the pocket, I guess the pocket backs, and attaching those. So I had mentioned last week how I use highlighters to mark my patterns, and one of the people on the threads had asked, and I haven't answered her yet. I will do that in writing, but I thought I would mention it. She said, well, if you mark your pattern using highlighters, what happens if you have to frog back or redo a section? And I have had to do that, and I also mark with a pencil where I am as well, but I find the highlighters, especially when it's a long pattern that I have to kind of keep track of, long rows, I find the highlighter easier to follow so that my eye can follow exactly the next line that I'm working on. But if I do have a case where I have to tink back or rip some out, which I have had to do, I have a couple of copies of the pattern, so I'll just like print out another page and start again, or I can use another color highlighter and just go over it in another color, and then I can see exactly where I am the second time around. So I hope that helps or answers your question on how I kind of keep track using highlighters. On simpler patterns, I definitely just use a pencil and I mark off each row as I go. And even when I'm doing multiple rows of the same pattern, for socks or anything like that, if it says I have to do 26 rows or whatever, I definitely do hash marks. I know people use row counters. Sometimes I've used that little row counter with the rings to count rows as well, but I still find it easiest to physically mark in a pencil where I am. So I'm amazed at people who can just knit, and then they just like kind of look at it and say, yep, that's enough. So maybe one day I'll get to that point, but for now, I definitely have to mark using a pencil and or highlighters. So I hope that helps. So I guess that's all I have to share with you with my knitting this week. So next I'll go into what's arrived in the mail this week. So this week has been a great mail week. I've received a few things in the post, and I thought I would share those with you as well. The first is a prize that I won. Sarah at the Purls of Color podcast was running a sock knit-along that I entered my Gummy Bear Felici socks into, and I won her prize, and it arrived this week. And the prize was this set of sock yarn, and this is by Never Enough Thyme. This is hand-dyed yarn, and the colorway is bubblegum, and it is just so beautiful, really nice and squishy soft. Sarah even included a really cute sheep stitch marker, so thank you so much for that. And this is 75% merino, 25% nylon, so perfect for socks. And the main skein is 463 yards or 100 grams, and the heel toe skein that matches is a 20 gram 100 yard skein. So this is a fingering weight yarn, and this is by Never Enough Thyme on Etsy. So check out her shop. This is really, really pretty. I'm really looking forward to making a pair of socks with contrasting heel toe and maybe cuff as well. So I was thrilled to have won. Sarah, thank you so much. I was really excited to hear my name drawn for your prize. So lucky me. And look at the stitch marker, even has a matching pink gem on it. So that's really great. So that's going to be a nice future project. Thank you. The other things that arrived this week is I put in an order for West Yorkshire Spinners because they had just released a limited edition holiday colorway, and so I wanted to make sure that I picked up a couple of skeins of that. And they had two colorways. One was their variegated, just like their birds line, and the other was a solid. I didn't bother getting the solid, but I did get two skeins of Hollyberry, and this is that colorway. And yeah, I'm thrilled with that. It's got, the reds and the greens, and it's kind of a more muted green, almost like a fir tree type of color. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how these are going to knit up, whether they'll be socks or something else. I just wanted to grab two while they were available, so that if I did want to make something larger than, say, a pair of socks, that I have plenty of yarn. So thrilled to get those in the mail. And of course, if I was going to get something all the way from the UK, I had to make it worthwhile, so I got a few other colorways of their birds line. So I ended up getting 3 more of their birds line. I already have quite a few of them, but I didn't never had this colorway in their 4-ply, and this one's the Wood Pigeon. I love the purples and the blues, the mauves in this colorway. I had this in Aran weight previously, and I'd found it at a local yarn shop, and they only had one skein of it, so I ended up making a cowl set with fingerless mitts out of that. But while I was knitting it up, I thought, oh, I wish I really had this in the sock yarn, so now I do. So that is Wood Pigeon. The next one I got was Blue Tit, and that again is a bird in the UK, and the blues and the yellows are really pretty in this. So I've seen so many projects knit up with this colorway, hats and socks and more, and it really does knit up really, really pretty. So I'm looking forward to using that one as well. And the last one that I got was Mallard. I really love the blues of this colorway. Blues and browns, golds. Yeah, really, that will make up something really, really nice. Whether it will be socks or something else, well, now I have quite a few West Yorkshire Spinners yarns to choose from. So again, you know, I have to make the parcel worthwhile. So 5 yarns ended up making their way to Canada from the UK, and it was actually pretty darn fast too, so I was really thrilled with that. Another package that I got in the mail this week came from even farther away, Australia. If you've seen my previous podcasts, you'll know that daughter and I went to the Manitoba Fiber Festival in early October, and we took a yarn dyeing class while we were there. It was being held by Odessa at Wolseley Wool, and she was using a couple of different manufacturers of dyes, and the ones that I chose to use were called Landscapes dyes. So after the class, a few days later, I went online to see where I could buy some of these dyes myself, because I certainly wanted to continue to try to dye up some of my either yarns or fibers. So I thought I would try with a few and see how it goes, because we really had fun. So I thought, well, I'll buy some up and then I'll split them with daughter so we can both continue with this little new hobby. So I found a place in Australia called Rainbow Wools. Now, Landscapes dyes are made in Australia, so one of the people or one of the companies that carries the Landscapes dyes is called Rainbow Wools. And it really made sense to order from them because, unfortunately for them, their dollar is doing even worse than the Canadian dollar. So it really was great to be able to find this supplier. So I'll share with you, I got 8 different colors. Now they have in their Landscapes dyes sets, there's 2 collections. One of them has, I think, 32 colors in it, and the other one has over 30, maybe 34 colors. And I thought, well, rather than getting obviously 60 different colors, I'll start with some primaries and some other base colors that maybe I can mix and match and maybe make my own color combinations. We'll see how that goes, but I'll share with you what I decided to get as at least a start to my yarn dyeing kit. So I started with the primary colors, and started with the yellow, and this one's called Wattle, and I believe that's a kookaburra that's on the front of the Landscapes dyes. Now these are 100 grams. There's lots in here. You use a very small amount for dyeing, complete skeins of yarn. So there's plenty here, and I'm going to, like I say, share these with daughter. So even between the two of us, this is going to last us a long, long time. So that's the yellow. I also got red, and this color is called Bloodwood. And the blue I chose was called Sky. Now this is one of the yarn, or one of the dyes that I chose to do my yarn in. So I really love this blue. There's lots of different shades of blues and greens of every color. So I thought this was a good basic blue to add to the primary colors at least. And then I wanted to get a nice brown. Rather than trying to mix up my own browns, I thought I would get a nice basic brown to start with, so I can do some neutrals. And this one's called Wallaby. And then I also got a green. Even though it's not a primary, it's a secondary color. I thought trying this fern color is a good start with greens. And then I can add my blues and yellows to make different variations on this green. So looking forward to playing with that. I also got this ice, and this is like a turquoise color, and again another color that I used on my yarn that I showed that I dyed up in class. So it's a really nice turquoise blue. And then also this other turquoise. I guess this one's more the ice, to think of it, to see them side by side. The ice was more of a teal, and then Kingfisher was more of a turquoise, a lighter color. So I used both of these in my yarn, and they are great together. So of course I had to pick up those. Teal and turquoise, my favorite colors, because I know I'm going to use a lot of those. And then the last one I chose was Currawong, and this is a basic black. And black, I guess, is one of the hardest dyes to get a true black. And I saw in a couple of posts online how Currawong is one of the best true blacks. So I'm interested in actually re-dyeing part of the yarn that I dyed. That was the one color that I used from the other manufacturer, and it ended up coming out more of a gray than a true black. So I may end up using some of this on the yarn that I've already dyed up, and we'll see. Play around with this and see how it goes, and see if it makes it a little bit darker. So yeah, so I think that's a good start for my yarn dyeing. Now all I have to do is find time to do it, and order up some plain yarn skeins that I can play with. I have a few in my stash that I may start with, and I may be doing maybe some over dyeing of some fiber that I might want to play with. So I'm looking forward to starting that. As I say, all I need is time to start this new hobby. You know, maybe over the holidays. I usually take a couple of weeks holidays over the Christmas break, so maybe that'll be a time after Christmas that I'll get into this a little bit more. So we'll see. When I get some of my first experiments going, I'll definitely share them with you here. So yeah, that was a really good mail week. Next week is going to be a really good mail week as well, because I got a confirmation from a company that I've been working with since August, and it has to do with the toy cow. Now, when I was starting to look for sponsors for the toy cow, and also looking for some yarn to do my own toy projects with, I came across a website of a company that I've looked at before but I hadn't yet ordered from, and it's Ancient Arts Yarns. And what drew me towards this company was it was Canadian, but also it has two collections that a portion of the proceeds goes towards cat and dog rescue. And they have their Meow and Woof collections, and they are wonderful. So when I was going to place my order, I asked them if they would like to help sponsor the toy knit along, and they were just wonderful. They got back in touch with me immediately, and not only are they going to be providing some wonderful things for me, but also for you. So Stephanie at Stitchcraft was the person I've been emailing back and forth. Wonderful, wonderful lady. She's already sent a couple of things for the toy knit along are just a couple of notions that are going to be given away as prizes at the end of the toy knit along. So these are some Knitter's Pride notions, some stitch markers, and needle measuring. It's a round view sizer. So these will add to the prizes at the end of the toy cal. And she's also sent me some needles to review, so I'll be doing that in the future as well. So Stephanie, thank you so much. She has been such a sweetheart, emailing back and forth, arranging with Caroline at Ancient Arts. They are sending some very, very special yarn that I will share with you next week once it arrives, but I'm so thrilled that some plans we made together have worked out, and they have been absolutely fabulous. So make sure you come back next week to see what's arrived from Ancient Arts Yarns. I'm just thrilled to have them as a sponsor for the toy knit along. The other sponsors I wanted to review today, you've seen before if you've been here before, but I wanted to review them again with you. Deb at Fondant Fiber has sent some knitter soap, and this one, do we have? Don't believe I have the the scent is of this knitter soap. It's handmade knitter soap that she sent. Along with that, the winner of hers will be sent this fiber. Now, this is the Enola Gay 100 grams of her wonderful fiber from Fondant Fiber. But if the winner that I draw for this isn't a spinner, I will substitute yarn from Fondant Fiber for the winner of this. So no worries if I do draw your name and you're not a spinner. So that's those. And of course, as I mentioned before, Pat from On the Dock Knits has sent us this beautiful project bag. And not only that, she has also included some stitch markers. So thank you, Pat from On the Dock Knits. She's a local lady from Lactabani, and she makes wonderful project bags. Nice long handle. I love the long handles. I find that some of my project bags that don't have handles, they're really hard sometimes to carry into work back and forth, and I end up, putting them into a larger bag that has a handle on them. So I really do appreciate a handle on a project bag, and she also has a ring as well that you can add things to as well. So thank you so much, Pat from On the Dock Knits, for your contribution as well. So those are some of the prizes so far, but as I said, something very, very special is coming from Ancient Arts Yarns as well, and I can't wait to share those with you next week. So I guess I can announce the winner of the $10 or less Ravelry downloadable or giftable pattern. I'm doing these draws at the end of each of the 3 months, so for October, November, and December. So October's winner, the draw I did earlier today, just before I started the podcast recording, and I drew from numbers 2 to 53 in the finished objects thread. And I will insert a picture of random.org, chose number 32. And that was Brittany, or B-Wings, Yoda toy. So congratulations, Brittany. Yoda is just adorable. Get in touch with me, please. Just give me a PM and let me know which pattern that is $10 or less US on Ravelry that I can gift to you, and I'll make sure that I get that out to you right away. So thank you everyone for your entries this month. If you didn't win, don't worry, you're still in the draw for both November and December, and of course in for the draw for the physical prizes at the end of the cal. So I think that's all I have to share with you this week. The one last thing I'm going to tag on to the end here is yesterday, while we were getting ready for Halloween, of course, I did some more pumpkin carving. I didn't do any foam pumpkins this year. I like to obviously reuse my foam pumpkins, and I got so many nice comments from both little kids and adults coming to the door and commenting on my Jack Sparrow pumpkin. I was amazed. There was this little girl, and she said, "Oh, Jack Sparrow," she says, "how did you do that?" And I was amazed. This little girl, she knew who Jack Sparrow was. So that was really so sweet to see. So lots of cute little kids last night at the door. We really had a fun time. But in the afternoon, hubby and I, we threw on our old DVD of the first Halloween movie. That's the Jamie Lee Curtis version, of course, from the 70s. I love watching that on Halloween. And so hubby helped me carve out the inside of 2 real pumpkins. And I carved then the designs into the front. And this year I ended up doing just some simple patterns because I was kind of running out of time, unfortunately. Thyme, I didn't really manage too well this Halloween. Usually what I do each year is I try to pick out a couple of real pumpkins, a few weeks before Halloween. You don't want to get them too early because you don't want them to rot before you carve into them. But then you don't want to leave them too late because they're kind of picked over. And unfortunately this year I left it too late, and it was earlier in the week. I think it was still Tuesday. But still, it was only about a week or so before Halloween. Or I guess it was at the end of last week. Yeah, it was about a week ago that I realized, I got to go out and get some real pumpkins. And so I checked at one store, and they had this huge, big cardboard box of pumpkins. And the only ones left that they had were way at the bottom, and I couldn't even reach in to pick them up. Never mind trying to lift out these 20 or 30 pound pumpkins. They were huge at the bottom of this box. I don't know how they expected anybody to even, pick these up out of the box. Couldn't get them, so passed those by. And then I went to another store that I usually get pumpkins at every year, and they had closed down their, it's a garden store, so they're not open year round. So unfortunately, they had just closed down the day before I went, so that was a no-go. So I ended up going to another grocery store, and they had lots of boxes of these pumpkins out front, but because it's been pretty cold here, I guess that they had frozen because they were awful selection. I don't know why they would even have. A lot of these pumpkins were rotten and just terrible looking. And I mean, they really shouldn't even had them for sale. But I was trying to pick out and see if I could find at least one that was half decent. And there was another fellow came by, and he was doing the same, and he found a really good one, and he says, I found one. He was so pleased, and it was great. I said, oh, congrats. And he puts his pumpkin down, and he starts going through all these boxes for me to find one for me as well. So what a sweet guy. I've never met him before. He just decided he was going to find one for me as well. And the nicest one we could find had a nice front, but it was starting to kind of go. The inside of the pumpkin wasn't rotten at all, but the skin wasn't the best. So I ended up doing, carving that one, but you'll see in the little video that I have next that it was discolored on the outside, so it made it a little trickier to carve out. Inside it was great. We ended up using it, but it was less than a perfect pumpkin. I also found a smaller one, so I did a very simple cat design on that one, but I thought I would share with you a speeded up version of me carving out a couple of real pumpkins this year. So I hope you enjoy this short video as well. So I think that's all I have to share. I hope you enjoy, and I hope you had fun visiting with me in my studio today. I certainly had fun sharing everything with you today, and I hope you'll join me again next week in my Victorian studio. So until then, have a wonderful week, everyone, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.